right, we are live. What's up, Sean?
Hey, what's going on?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, this is the first episode of Pryce on Purpose. I am Stacy Pryce, and we're going to pretty much talk about the price that we have to pay to fulfill and live our purpose. So that's why I decided to have Sean here. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you brought was it a Crustables? I used to eat those like at work. Uncrustables. I used to eat those at work, like real quick. I'm like, this is the best thing. There's no crust.
Mm-hmm.
But while you're chewing, I'll introduce you a little bit. I met Sean actually through, I guess, Maria. I met you through Maria, through the mastermind. I don't even know what you want to call it, mastermind group. I met Maria, and then I met you because you did also Indie Pods United.
Yep.
And I had no idea. Like there was, I'm not that everybody wears like a t-shirt like, hey, this is my life. This is what I've been through. Like there's no way I would have known. And when I heard that you had a podcast called Nowhere to Go But Up, I decided to listen to it. And ironically, what prompted me to like ask you to be on this show, I read the book called Personality Isn't Permanent by, what's the author's name that was on your show?
Benjamin.
Yes.
Benjamin. Oh man, I just had that book in my hand too.
Oh my God. Hold on. Let me Google.
And he was a past guest. Dude, I suck.
No, it's okay. I should have had this, but long story short, as I look it up, if you get it, let me know.
Ben, I'm trying to pull from the reserves here.
Benjamin Hardy.
Benjamin Hardy. There you go.
Yes. So I was like, holy crap. I couldn't believe you had him on your show. And that was the episode that I listened to. And I heard a little bit about your story. And I was like, no effing way. Like, there's no way I would have. Like, I was just like, what? And then I was just listening to now a recent podcast you did on this fireside chat.
Yeah. So was that the 3.5 hour one that I just did, or is that like the hour and 20?
It looks like the hour and 21. I have it pulled up here. I'm not even done. I'm like 19 minutes in, and I learned even more about your story. But feel free to share a little bit about you.
Well, I mean, I can. Hello, everybody. The reason why I was chewing. Let's get to that. Yeah. The reason why I was chewing on a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is that I've been up since like 5 o'clock this morning and working, and I just came out of another meeting on Zoom. So like I had to like run, use the restroom, grab some water, and that was the first thing I ate this morning. So my stomach was growling, and I didn't want it to come across on the microphone. So my name's Sean Dustin. I am a podcaster, as well as a lot of other things. I'm a union blue collar guy. Probably will be going back to work here pretty soon after being off for temporary disability for the last year, which I was able to really hone in what I was doing and lay the foundation to pivot out of that into some of the other purposes and passions that I've bloomed into, from my story and my past. So a little bit about that is, I'm not going to get too deep into it because that's a long conversation.
We're going to have it.
But, I grew up in an abusive household, verbally and physically. I never really saw any of it. I heard stories about it. So I can't say that, yes, I saw these things. I know that there was a lot of verbal abuse that went on, and I was witness to a lot of that because my parents used me to get back at each other, as a pawn in their little, hatred and whatever it is they were doing. And so that was my first trauma that I kind of suffered as a kid, and that brought on a lot of anger. And I became a bully, and I got kicked out of numerous schools, from preschool all the way to, I literally got kicked out of preschool.
That's insane, but yeah. I understand it.
And so that was the first one, and then there was 4 other junior highs that I got expelled from, and leading into high school. I caught my first case as as a freshman. I incited a riot, they said, which, yeah, I guess I did. I put together a group of people. Somebody threatened me at a rival high school. I slept with this girlfriend over summer. I didn't know that she had a boyfriend. And I was only 15 at the time. So I was probably about 14 when that actually happened. And then I don't know.
Dang, you were 14?
Yeah. And I stole my mom's truck to go and do it, picked the girl up, and then went to the back roads. And I was such a gentleman. I just did it right in the back of the truck. in the bed, in the bed of the truck, right. under the blue sky and the really romantic. Here, get on this sleeping bag.
Oh my God. But you know what? You know what's interesting about I can't believe that. That's crazy. But you know what? Some people would be like, yo, 14, are you kidding me? But I want people to understand that, yes, you have a past, right? You got involved. You got involved in a lot of scenarios that weren't favorable to, say, what a typical kid, whatever that means, is supposed to do. Yeah. But at the same time, you were learning. You were learning based on your environment, based on what you were experiencing, and you were just kind of a product in the moment of what you were going through. But do you feel that way?
Well, to a certain extent. Yeah, a lot of how I became, who I am, or who I was, or whatever you want to call it, was lack of discipline and lack of supervision. First and foremost. Okay, there's the trauma, right? And the anger that surrounded the situation I didn't have any control over. And, that I go over to my dad's and they'd be talking a gang of crap about my mom. And I would come home and talk that same crap to her and tell her all the same thing. You know what I mean? And so, that in itself causes a lot of, anger, because you can't control the situation. You love your mom, but then you've got these people that you love also telling you that she's all of these things. And then when I come home and just be, super mean and just an asshole, basically. And I'm sure I felt bad about it, so there's all these conflicting feelings and emotions, and I'm like 7 years old, 8, 9, 10. What do you do with all those? Right.
Right.
And nobody's telling me what to do with them. So, I'm a latchkey kid in the 3rd grade, taking myself to and from school, no supervision for, till 5 o'clock, till 10 o'clock at night sometimes.
Right.
So you're doing bad. You're on restriction. Okay. Who's going to enforce it? I'm just going to take the phone off the hook and go out and play.
Right. So funny. I remember, I never took the phone off the hook, but I do remember being younger and making sure that we opened all the windows to the house, because my mom used to call it around 7 o'clock. So we knew we can go out, but we had to stay around the general area so that when the phone rang, we would run back real quick, and try and maybe I learned meditation at a young age. I was trying to control my breathing so it didn't sound like I rushed to the phone from down the street. I was just like, hey, Mom, how's it going? Yeah, we're just sitting here chilling. Yeah, everything's fine.
I remember that. I remember doing that. That's so funny.
As kids, I don't know if people give kids enough credit. Kids are really smart. Yeah, you have to like really like take a couple deep breaths before
Yeah.
you like yeah, everything's fine. Because parents know their kids. They know their kids. Like they'd be
Oh
like,
man,
"What were you doing?"
that's hilarious.
But I wanted to ask you because I do feel that with this past life that you had, obviously you're going to remember it. There's different scars that you have, but you learned in some way, shape, or form to live with it, right? And I could see now where you've evolved into this next version of self. What was it that, what do you feel it was that triggered you to change into the version that you're showing us today? Like what clicked for you?
Well, I would say 18. I mean, it all started actually in 2010, and
Mm,
so that's when the actual, okay, I don't want to be this dude anymore, or I don't want to have this problem with methamphetamine anymore, because that started back when I was a sophomore in high school.
mm,
And so I started using crank back then, and it just, off and on and off and on and off and on for I think 2010. I was probably my early no mid 30s maybe, I think,
mm,
or maybe even my early 40s. I'm not sure. I'm 47 now, so
mm,
2010 is 9 years ago. So no, my late 30s, right?
mm,
I stopped doing that, and it was only because I had to. Uh, well, the reasoning that I stopped doing it initially was because I had, I'd gotten out of prison in 2004.
mm,
Um, no, went in 2004, got out in 2006. Uh, Caught two violations while I was out because I was doing all kinds of criminal activities. While I was on supervised release. Uh,
mm,
2008 came. I got into my union. 2008 came. Jobs gone. Unemployment. So I got money. I got time, and my wife that I married for all the wrong reasons. Uh,
mm,
would go to work, and had nothing to do. So eventually I found the people that, did the meth, and,
mm,
got back onto that ride.
mm,
But, I got two violations while I was doing that. I got arrested again, in the commission of a crime, and got lucky, and they dismissed it because the feds had superseded anything that the
mm,
state would do, because I was under federal custody. And so they dismissed everything. So I was like, oh, wow, I got lucky.
mm,
And so I had to do a 90-day treatment center, which I, manipulated my way through that whole thing.
mm,
Got kicked out of there 9 days before I was going to graduate from there. And
mm.
so,
Wow.
and that whole story that goes along with that is kind of crazy too. I think it's in my one I just did on the Spiritual Underground podcast.
Mm-hmm.
There's a 3.5 hour, like the best rendition of my story to date. And
Beautiful.
so
Yeah.
if you want to take a deep dive, go there. You'll hear all the stories.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing though, because I feel like, change for us humans doesn't really happen until we hit our own version of what a rock bottom is. Like, and even then sometimes, like we might need to hit that rock bottom a couple of times. I find it interesting that, well, you may know a little bit about this. I don't know. I know about self-sabotage,
Mhm.
like getting so close to a destination or completing something or winning something or whatever it is that you're going to do, but for some reason you operate in a way where you're just like, not right now, and you think it's not on purpose. Like you think it's not on purpose, but it was leading up to that. So it's, do you feel that right this moment that you're telling me, you started to replicate the same behavior you did when you were 16?
No, it was a culmination of all of those things, because everything that you talk about is spot on, right? About self
Mm,
sabotage.
mm,
And looking back on it, what I had realized is that my so from the time I was in third grade, I was getting my desk shoved into the closet, turned around from the rest of the classroom, you know, you know, being told I was a bad kid, to be reinforcing that I was bad through getting expelled. So it was like
Mm,
I was really trying to take myself through this self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm just a bad kid, right? And
mm,
it's just bad, 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 bad. So I
right.
mean, I have all this bad that's laced in throughout my life, and years
Mm,
of it, right? And it's that subconscious that that we all don't really realize that.
right.
I mean, not all of us, but it takes somebody, or just being able to figure out that, oh, all of these behaviors that I have are like auto responses that a computer gives you, and they happen like so
Yep.
fast sometimes that you don't even realize that you're doing it.
Right.
And if unless people are calling you out, or unless people are making you aware of it, you're not going to be aware of it until the behavior
Mm,
becomes your indicator,
mm-hmm.
and the consequences of your behavior become an indicator to like, oh, okay,
Right.
pay attention to this. This is
Right.
here it is again. you
Right.
know and that was a theme throughout my whole life. It's just there'd be all these
Mm,
indicators, and doop, there it is again. Ah, shit.
right.
And
Right.
but I would never really pay attention to it because it didn't it didn't affect me, because I was such a manipulative person.
Mm,
And that's what I learned too growing up, and then being going through all those different schools and being a decent looking kid. I got a lot
mm,
of attention from the opposite sex. So it
mm,
taught me that, oh, that's what's important,
right.
right?
Right.
Oh, if I
Right.
want X and
Mm,
Y and Z, then I need to learn how to do this.
right.
And it became a theme as I would go through into, like, my, even not my last ones, but like my other relationships. They would just be, people would serve a purpose, not like you're just a means to the end of the goal that I need to get to.
Mm, mm.
I wouldn't look at people as people. I would look at them as assets.
Wow. Okay.
And
Got you.
so that's kind of how I treated things. And
Mm,
so, like, there was a whole long laundry list of shit that, like, I had to dissect and, like, go, okay, like, why are you doing this? And then
mm,
anger and all that other stuff starts coming out once the drugs are gone,
right.
right? And I haven't dealt with anything. Then there's all this, the best way. So here's the best way that I can describe it. And we're getting a little bit off here, but whatever. Um,
No, this is what I need.
Um, so I look at my brain as like a hard drive in a computer, right?
Right.
And every single trauma that I've experienced, or every single screwed up situation, or anything that's even happened, even to brain injuries, because I've had a few of those that I didn't realize play a part in something until I started talking to some people that have had TBIs, and they're like, when I explain my story, they, you know what, this sounds an awful lot like the behavior of people that have brain injuries.
Right.
And I'm like, huh. And I start thinking back, and I'm like, oh, dude, I got knocked out this time. I got knocked out this time. I've
Mhm.
had a serious concussion this time, football injuries. And I was like, maybe there's something to that too. But anyways, I
No,
digress.
there is. There is.
Um, so every single one of those is a fragment that goes out, right?
Right.
And if you look at your brain as like your hard drive, and you look at a regular computer's hard drive, well, what happens when you get so many fragments that are going out? Files get misplaced, things don't go where they're supposed to go,
Mm,
processes get delayed, or sometimes they just get blue screen,
mhm.
right? And so what do you got to do? You have to defrag it, which is figure out where everything goes, where it came from. And that's kind of like dissecting who you are and why you do some of the things you do. And, like, do you even know who you are? And I think a lot of, like, for me, I didn't know who I was.
That's it.
Like who am I?
Yeah.
That's why fraud was so appealing to me, because I didn't
Mm,
have to be me. I could be
mm,
whoever I wanted, because I didn't like me,
mm,
because I'm just this bad person, this bad kid, right?
mm.
And it's been reinforced for years. And
Right.
so getting through all of that, then, you put everything back in its place, so at least the best that you can, right?
Right.
And then you reset it. And
Right.
then bam, now your hard drive's back in order, your computer's running good. Now you get some clarity, and you can sort of see where you're going. The path has sort of been, dust it off so you can at least see the trail.
Yeah.
And the more and more you do that, and become self-aware of why you do the things that you do, it's almost like you learn the rules of your game, right? And a lot of the times I've been running through my life for years playing a game. I had no idea what the rules were.
Right.
I didn't know who I was. I didn't know. I know who I thought I was, and I know who my ego was. But I mean, who is Sean really?
Right.
What do you want? What do you care about? What do you and all of those questions couldn't even be answered until I started doing right. Right? Because those I mean, in the criminal world, it's like, okay, well, you can't be proud of that. You can't brag. I mean, I guess you can amongst a bunch of
depends on who you're
criminals.
talking to. Exactly.
You go. I could be the king of the dipshits if I wanted to.
Right.
And be on my pulpit talking about all my crimes and things that I did and people I hurt. But you can't. There ain't nothing your parents can be proud of, right?
Right.
And who are we always striving to try to it's not the neighbors, it's our parents, right? Those are the people that we need, our family. We need our family to be proud of us. And so all of those things I was doing, I definitely couldn't tell anybody about it. And I definitely couldn't, they wouldn't be proud of it, right? Especially my dad's cop, right? All that stuff.
No, your father was a cop?
His whole side was.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So wait, now I have a question. So so actually, first question, are your parents still alive?
Yeah, they are.
Okay. And so were you like pretending to be one version of you as you got older, like around, like, for example, since your father's in law enforcement, or he knew everything that was going on?
Yeah, the one I had a conversation with him once when I moved to Sacramento, which is the same city he lived in. After that, because we were still cool, even though I got kicked out of there, and me and him got in a fight, and another thing took place at some point. I mean, he still tried, right? And I remember I told him, I said, "Look, I said, yeah, I'm doing some things, Dad, that if my name comes across your desk, I don't expect you to turn the other way."
Wow.
And so you do your job, I'm going to do mine.
Wow. That's interesting. Interesting.
Because honestly, I tell people that, like, of all the things that I went through and all the things that I did, man, I think I was trying to kill myself in a different way.
Right.
I didn't like who I was. I didn't like, the things that I was doing. I didn't like how I treated women. From manipulation to being an abusive person, because that came out, and all the things that go along with that. And, shit, I just lost my train of thought.
No, it's fine. No, I get it. And I think, my version of that too, it's like, you realize the price that you're paying to, like, it's like you're trying to get to this version, but you took a detour because at one point you may have felt that was okay because it just seemed, easy. You know what I mean? I think humans always look for comfort, or as sometimes being uncomfortable, but it's just easy to kind of do that, or you may not see what you really need to do until it appears. Like, when do you feel like for you your purpose kind of appeared? Like, what was it that kind of, you were like, oh wow, I can use this to help myself and help others?
Let's see. So I was on a trajectory to become a business agent in my union and, be in the ranks there. I'd done everything that I was supposed to. I even ran for the position. Like, I was on the sergeant at arms for 2 years. I was the executive board member for 2 years, trustee for 2 years, on the rowing team for 5 years. Did a whole bunch of volunteer stuff, for that local. And so, like, I had the perfect pedigree for it. But what I didn't realize is that an election doesn't really go on merit. It goes on popularity, right? Unless it's rigged. But yeah, and I ran for it and I lost, and that kind of really sort of gave me like it put such a bad taste in my mouth, because the guys that were running against me, they started pulling out like, oh, he's a criminal, all this other stuff, just all the slander that goes on in an election. I mean, because it was nothing different than what you see at the national level,
Right.
just on a smaller scale.
Mm-hmm.
So the mudslinging, and everyone kept telling me to take the high road and don't engage in that and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it was like, and so like here was this those memes, here's how you see yourself and then here's how everyone else sees you.
Right. Right.
So I mean, I got a really really hard dose of that when I didn't get as many votes. Like I got the least amount of the people there, and so I had to like really, that was an ego kick, man.
Right.
And so I had to like really look, like sit back and go, okay, you're an asshole.
Mm.
You want to know why nobody likes you? I'm gonna tell you why nobody likes you. Sit your ass down, boy. and so I had to have that talk, man.
Yeah.
I'd have that talk with myself, my ego, and fuck. I had to bring all of the agents in and sit them around and say, all right, look, I'm the CEO of this damn thing.
Right.
And it's the right guy that wants to, do things for all the right reasons. And it's like, all right, well, I'm pulling all my personalities in and let's figure this out.
Right.
And that was a piece of it. Realizing that, look, man, you are the cause of all of your own problems, my friend. You want people to like you. Don't be such a dick. You want, you want friends, or you want whatever it is that you want, you want people to pay attention to the things that you're interested in. And why don't you show some interest in somebody else other than yourself? I mean, it's that thing, it's like, and I caught that with the podcast too, because I was like, damn, nobody wants to give me a damn review. You start getting that thing, or like, why is it so hard for people to just review? It takes the two taps swipe in a whatever, right?
Right.
And
my God. Yeah. I definitely, sorry, you go first. Yeah.
No, it did. Somebody asked me, actually, it was my girlfriend that said, she's all, how many people you reviewed today? Or actually in the last week or in the last month?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We can't stand the people that say things that are real truth. You're like, wait. Ah, damn it.
You're like, okay, none. Fine. All right, I get it. And so, but I mean, it's true. And so I had to start taking a look at the kind of person that I was. And and it's been that process for a long time, right? 2010. And then in 2010 I hit another, I got hooked on opiates for another 7 years from a softball thing, right? Injury. But I could function on that, right? I was still doing all the high level stuff, but I was chasing these damn pills around, and my days after work, or my whatever I was doing, revolved around trying to chase them down so I don't get sick from the withdrawals.
Right.
And so I'm doing all that stuff. I'm leveling up while I'm doing this. So I mean, it's like, damn, man, if you didn't have like this tire you were dragging behind you for 40 some odd years, man, imagine how far you would be. And then someone else said, stop doing that.
Yeah.
Stop looking backwards.
True.
You keep looking backwards at the things that you should have done or could have done or would have done or should have done better. He's like, man, you're never going to
go forward. Like, you're going to get stuck in the past. You can't fix the past, but you can use the lessons to kind of start to put the building blocks together for your future.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's so crazy because when we spoke the other day on Clubhouse that day, I realized like some things about me I didn't even like. I knew it was there, but I didn't know. But it's like I was such in like denial of being myself that I would drink heavily, like blackout, drunk. And you know how you were talking about brain injuries, like I got a concussion because I drank so much, passed out, I fell and hit a brick, fractured parts of my face. It was crazy, you know, but I didn't realize like really what was going on until like later on in life. And I'm like, wow, like I was really trying to blame my sexuality on alcohol. Like, hey, I didn't know what was going on, you know, the lady came to me, like, you know. So I was in denial. But do you feel that you know your usage is in denial? Like, do you feel like it was attached to any type of denial for you to like deal with pain?
Um, there, I have used it as an excuse at
Mm,
times for behavior.
mm,
Um, it, but I mean, I don't know, man. I was pretty, I was pretty like, I guess the best way that I can describe it is that I was addicted to everything that I sold. I was addicted to everything
mm,
that felt good. I was addicted to everything that, you know,
mm,
that could be. So I mean,
mm.
and it was just because I wasn't happy.
Right.
Right? I wasn't happy with whatever it was. I wasn't happy with me. I wasn't happy with, you know, my situation. Wasn't happy
Mm,
with the results. Kept blaming everybody else. You know, and you know, you said what was the turning point? It was a culmination of a lifetime of bad behavior and you know not being able to be proud of myself, my parents being proud of me, you know, just all of these different things
mm,
rolled up into a big old mash of just shit, right?
mm.
It's just a bunch of poop, you know, of of what you don't want a person to be.
I'm laughing at the analogy, not the actual situation. But yeah, I
Yeah,
get
you
it.
know, and it was, you know, I used I had a violation that I was going to. I had to turn myself in 6 weeks. I had, you know, out everybody stopped buying all my bullshit. I, you know, hey, it's going to be different this time. I promise. I swear.
Mhm,
You know, I'd AWOL'd from my marriage for 3 months and just, you know, waltzed back in and was kind of like, all right, well, I'm done doing crime now because,
mhm,
you know, not because I want to be here, but because the well ran out and we all kind of dispersed. Right.
mhm.
And now I got to come back home. I got this other thing pending. You know, you need to take care of me again and all these things. And so like everything is just a culmination was just all coming to a screeching halt.
Right.
And
Right.
it was like, all right, what are you going to do now?
Mhm,
And so it was really like I was at a crossroads where I had no choice but to either go the right way or the wrong way. And well,
mhm.
the wrong way, I've got plenty of evidence that shit don't work.
Right. Right.
I got a whole big, you know, wake of destruction behind me
Right.
that proves that that doesn't work.
Mm,
And so I stopped using, you know, so it was a real pivotal moment. And I was in a high speed chase with my ex trying to, you know, because she wasn't giving me what I wanted and I was throwing a temper tantrum basically.
mm,
And, and I was, you know, driving crazy and she pulled over. We hit some traffic. She pulled over and she's like, dude, you're going to kill somebody or you're going to kill yourself. You need to
mm.
calm down, Junior. And I was like, I promise it's going to be different. Da, 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 da. I ended up fucking like bawling uncontrollably, like I could not stop crying.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm on the side of the highway,
Mm,
and there's traffic going by. People are honking, fuck, rah, rah, quit
mm,
crying, you little bitch, you know.
mm.
And you know, my hands are in my uh, hands. You know, people are. I just I hear them, but it was like I couldn't stop, man.
Right.
It was like this gut wrenching where it's coming right from the bottom and like all like I'm spewing out like I don't even, like poison, right? It's poison
Right.
leaving my system.
Right.
And it's I start floating up above myself. I'm looking at myself from above and I'm just like going, dude, you are pathetic. Like
Mm,
look at you. Look at
mm,
you, man. You've been rolling down this road for how long? And you ain't got shit to show for yourself. You don't got
Mm.
no kind of career, no kind of nothing. You're in your 40s or late 30s. Now, what are you gonna do, man?
Mm.
And so at that point, I was like, I stopped using because I knew I had to turn myself in. I was going to a county facility, which is sometimes
Mm.
to be more dangerous than a prison, and I didn't want to be kicking drugs while I was in there, so I couldn't defend myself. And so I stopped doing the meth, stopped smoking, turned myself in, got out in 90 days, and then got rid of all the friends, started hanging out, started going to like AA, and then I went and I got involved in adult slow pitch softball, which gave me a hobby to keep my brain occupied
Right.
and have something to do. And then from that point on, I didn't like the league I was playing in, so I went and I started my own league.
Nice.
And so that was the first. That was a pivotal point right there. That was where I
Right.
learned. That was where I learned that. Oh, so if I set a goal and I achieve that goal and I do everything that I have to do to set it up and blah, 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 all these things that I needed to do to start this league, right?
Mm.
I did it. It was successful. I succeeded. I was
Mm.
like, oh,
Right.
oh,
I could do
that's it.
this.
No, that's it. That's the piece. That's the piece,
Right.
right? That's the piece that builds the self-esteem and the confidence that I can be proud of and I can tell people about. And I can tell my
Mm.
mom about it. I can tell my whole family about it, right? I
Mm.
can tell the world, and
Mm.
I don't have to be ashamed of it. And so
Right.
I was like, well, if I can do that, then let me see if I can do this. And then a bigger goal, and then I achieved it, and I got it, and then I
Mm.
just kept leveling up, and then the whole union thing was going like right alongside of all of this, right?
Mm.
So I'm building myself up in the union, building myself up in life, outside of it, and then the self sabotage
Mm.
hits in, all right? Because you want
Mm.
to know why? I don't know how to succeed, or
Mm.
I don't know what success
Like your
feels like.
definition. Yeah.
Like I don't know what that feels like, right?
Right. Right.
And I'm bad. All of that
Mm.
undercurrent starts coming through, right? Oh, the subconscious is telling me that like I'm a bad person. I'm still doing bad things. I'm not, which I was because I was, like I said, the anger when the drugs go away, the anger starts going, pow, pow, like
Mm-hmm.
starts bouncing out of places you didn't even know you had,
Right.
right? For things that you.
It's the description. It's the description. You'd be like, what? Ah!
Get back in there.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a place.
Right. It's so true because that happened to me too. Like I definitely understand what you're saying because it's like you don't even know certain triggers until it happens.
Mm-hmm,
Like
mm-hmm.
you'll just be in a situation, you think everything is all good, and then all of a sudden somebody says something, boom, you become your old self again. Or you become a new version of that pain.
Yeah, so let me just 100% transparency to go along
Mm.
with what you just said.
Mm.
2 months ago,
Mm.
I got triggered into a road rage thing,
Mm.
and it was very quick. It didn't last for very long because the other person was more adult than I was,
Mm.
and so I pulled over, and like, come on, let's go. You pull over too, and he kept driving, when I calmed down, I was like, God damn it.
Yeah.
I
Did
was
it
like,
again.
man, you were doing so good, dude.
Mm.
And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's like, wham.
Mm-hmm.
And that's literally how fast it was.
Yeah.
And then, so I was like, first of all, I was like, damn, I thought you were gone,
Mm.
motherfucker.
Nah, you learn to live with it because even for me with myself and how like when I get really like happy, like manic, I'm like, oh, it's party time, music and drinks and this and that, and then next thing you know, blackout. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It happened. Like I went to like my sister's house and I was so excited. I was like, I started like a really good, healthy relationship for like the first time. I was like, everything was going well with my job. I was like, oh my God, let's celebrate. And then I had gotten this brand new car and this lady like backed into it. and it was on like Christmas Day 2 years ago, and I was like, I love my car. Like I love my car, Sean. So I'm just like, everything's fine. Next thing I know, bottle of Absolute is like almost done, and I drove this way, Sean. Drove this way. I'm surprised.
Back.
She's back. I go there. I start throwing up everywhere. It was just like ridiculous. But I had to realize, like, oh, this person that I've lived with, this version, this personality of me that I thought was gone is still here. Just like how you realize in that moment, it's like, you got to learn how to live with that person. But that's what it is about, I feel like, being an adult or being mature, I should say. I don't even want to say an adult per se, but it's like you learn like the different avenues that, like, you know, just like you said, like it's shooting out of here. You start to learn like, oh, okay, but you never know when it's going to come up again. You just got to be aware of what it looks like or what it's like. Oh, I feel it again. Like,
yeah, that's it right there. That's it, because that's exactly what I did. I stopped and before I even drove, I was like thinking, okay, let me calm down and let's retrace what's going on.
Right.
Like what was I feeling right before that moment? And it was my hand started gripping the wheel tighter because the person was riding my ass. I started gritting my teeth. My heart rate started going. And okay, so that was the immediate thing. So that's what I need to pay attention to for. When these three things start to happen, I need to realize, okay, don't react.
Right.
All right. Don't react. And so I had to go even further than that. Okay, so why did it even come up to begin with? Like, what am I not dealing with? What's in my life right now? What's happening right now that's causing me to feel stressed out to where that was the option?
Right.
And I traced it back to a situation that I'm going through. And I was like, I'm not talking to nobody about it. And it's like, it's really bothering me. And it was like, all right, well, that was it. That was the psh, and then the reaction was the psh. You know what I mean? The whatever you want to call that, the release valve, the pressure release valve.
Yep.
You know, and so, but if I would have been talking about it, and if I would have been communicating with people and trying to, you know, that just is, that's that steady release that keeps it from going boom.
Right.
Right. And
Absolutely.
so learning, so that's failing forward. Right. Because I didn't just move on and go, oh, well, fuck that guy. You know, I was like, okay, well, once again, we don't got to look too much further than this dude for the problem, for any of the problems that I'm going through. And so, you know, I looked inside and I figured out what it was. And so now I'm accountable. And yes, that was bad. But the last time I had a situation like this was probably 6, 7, 8, 9 months ago. Right. And then the time before that was, you know, so they're getting further and further apart. And that's progress.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. You know, you start to learn to give yourself credit because, you know, even like externally how we look for our parents' approval, most importantly, we do need to find that approval in ourselves. We have to like love ourselves. And even in those moments where like, you're like, oh man, he's back, you know, or she's back. Like, oh my God, this version of me, I thought we were done here. You gotta be like, look, at least you know it. At least you know it now. So let's start to, you know, be okay. But like, look, you had a flare up. you had a flare up. It's okay. Just put the ointment on. What's the ointment? I need to talk. I need to express. I need to, you know, like
some
for me,
salve on it. Just put some salve on it.
Yeah, just like you gotta like just like hold on, all right, there you go. You're doing good, right? You know, like for me, I know like I gotta lift heavy weight. For me, I gotta lift something heavy. You know what the funny thing is? I didn't even know that was something I needed to do. Like I'm naturally athletic. Like I need to apply my brain to something. Like I'll skateboard so I can get outside of my head. You know, I got to do different things. Like I got to lift heavy weight. I got to do something to get rid of it. But most importantly, I do need to talk about it. You know what I mean? Like that's important to me. Do you feel like now, do you have like people that help you to stay accountable? Like, do you express yourself? Do you go to therapy? Like, what do you do to handle yourself now?
The podcast.
Yes.
Well, because I'm too cheap to go to therapy. I don't want
Okay.
to. I don't want to pay for that. I mean, I'm sure I probably would if I could afford it, but I can't
Right.
afford it, so I just go the the bargain route, which is I leverage my podcast to bring on guests that can talk to me about things that I struggle with. Whether
That's
it's self
awesome.
sabotage or whether it's
Hmm.
anger, whether
Hmm.
it's I'm having somebody on today talking about reincarnation and spirituality.
Mm.
Just things that like the people that I bring on, usually it's either somebody from my population, or folks that have dealt with issues and how do you
Mm.
get through it, to people that are coaches or mental health counselors, or anybody from that I'm into, right,
Right.
that falls into my interests, and
Mm.
and me making me a better me is one of my interests. It's one of my main interests.
That's beautiful.
You
That
know,
really is beautiful, though.
and people's. I mean, I've had my girlfriend, say you're self-absorbed, and I'm like, well, I'm trying to be a better me. I mean, you
Mm.
can't do that for me.
Right.
You
Right.
can't. I mean, so at a certain level, plus I'm trying to take what I'm doing, to a certain level too. And if it happens, it happens. Now, maybe I could maybe not trying to be so controlling about it,
Hmm.
and back off on that aspect of it. But I mean, it really takes me, right?
Yes.
It takes me, because nobody's going to put the time or the energy into me that I'm going to put into me, especially if
Right.
I'm on this trajectory of wanting to be a better me,
Hmm.
And so if I'm a better me, then everybody else around me is going to be the recipients of that goodness,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
Of the fruits. My daughter, my even my
Hmm.
ex,
Hmm.
my mom, all the people that are around me that are affected by me are gonna benefit from me being a better person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like you right now, you're a living example that, you know, when you find your purpose, it can help you to be a better you. You know what I mean? Because now you've realized, like, okay, yes, I had this experience in the past, but I can use this as a tool to serve others, because now you're starting a non for profit.
Yeah, actually, just that's where I came from
Mm-hmm.
earlier, was the meeting about that, and that's in overdrive, and how all that even happened was even crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it came from the podcast, man, dude. I've gotten so many blessings from this show,
Mm-hmm.
like things that have propelled me into another level, or taught me something that I didn't know, or just the amount of connections that I've made because of it are just amazing. And so
Mm-hmm.
that the nonprofit was that way too. I was interviewing a lady and she had one, and I was my normal curious self. Well, how'd you do that? Wow, was it hard?
Mm-hmm.
I want to know all the things about all the stuff. Tell me.
Right. Right.
And well, I can't really tell you a whole lot because I had a lawyer do it for me, but
Mm-hmm.
she did it pro bono. Let me see if I can hook you up.
Nice.
And she did, and she did. And it usually you don't get approved for 501c3 status the first go around.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing was done and in my lap, and go, here you go, within 8 months.
Wow.
And I wasn't
That's
ready.
awesome.
And
You
I
were just
wasn't
like,
ready.
what?
I don't want this. What do you?
Responsibility.
It sounded a whole hell of a lot better when I would talk about it than having it
Right.
in my hand ready to
Everybody
go.
goes,
Like,
wow.
yeah, that's amazing. How did you do it? I haven't done shit yet, but
Yeah.
sounds cool, huh?
I think it's like it's so funny, but it's like, oh my god, like I actually have to like follow through now. It's like, but it's like it's such a blessing though, because now you're like, okay, I know, like let me know if you feel this way. It's like you now know that you're on track to now serving people that had similar experiences like you did growing up.
Yeah, for sure. And also what it's really taught me is it's taught me to to bring people around me in the right way,
Mm.
instead of bringing them around me to use them and discard them for my own personal gain. Now
Mm.
I'm bringing people around me for a common goal and a common purpose.
Mm.
People like Maria,
Mhm.
my friend Mina. These people. I mean, everybody that's come involved and I've come in contact and is willing to be a part of this
Mhm.
is an amazing piece
Mhm.
of what I don't know how to do. But
Mhm.
what I do know how to do is I know how to be real, and I know how to be authentic, and I know how
Mhm.
to be myself,
Mhm.
and tell you what my vision is.
Right.
And then the rest of them, the people that I got around me are able to take that and
Mhm.
and and put it into words and put it into structures and put it into where it needs to go. I'm not saying I'm not. I mean, I'm doing a whole lot of stuff too,
Mhm.
which a lot of it is me trying to learn how to delegate and not be so damn controlling about, like, okay, well, if it's going to get done, I'm the one that's got to do it.
Yeah, I have that problem.
You know what I mean? It's like, no, I don't trust you. Yeah, you're amazing, but I don't trust that you're going to have the same vision that I am, and this and that.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, that's a whole nother thing. And that
Mhm.
comes from childhood too.
Yep.
That not controlling, being able to control the situations that happen
Mhm.
to me or for me or whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
Um, it comes from there. And so, it's about really learning all of the different things about me that didn't work and
Mhm.
figuring out how to either change them, change the narrative in my head, or incorporate other things that are going to assist me in being able to get to where I need to go through
Mhm.
mitigating myself, right?
Absolutely.
Because I
Absolutely.
because I'm a damn jigsaw puzzle.
Aren't we all? We all are. There's so many like pieces to us, and I think that's the thing. Like some of us, like even for me, like before starting this, I'm like, how am I going to combine this version, this version, this version? And so like, how am I going to do all of this and delegating? And it sounds crazy in your head, but when you start to like set like clear direction, you start to like, oh, okay, I get it. We can do this. Like, how often do you engage in self talk?
Oh, I talk to myself all the time,
Me too.
all the time, and sometimes I don't even care if there's anybody around.
Right? You tell me you're in the grocery store, like, you didn't do that, did you? Okay, all right.
Or I'll run through the grocery list and I'm walking through the store. Okay, we need this, we need that, we need this. No, you don't need that, man. You fat. You don't need that. you don't need that. And I'll talk it out loud, man.
I was asking because I know for me, I have to like, I didn't even realize until I think late last year that I was speaking to myself in a very condescending way. Like I was being really mean to myself because I'm the type of person like I went to like this like boot camp. I used to go to this boot camp twice a week, like working out, doing craziness, and I'm just like, yo, come on, like you could do it, like that kind of like almost like military. Like I was talking to myself like that to provoke action. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And it was working, but the issue was when I'm not doing those things, I would still talk really down to myself.
Oh yeah.
So for you, like, do you feel like that like how do you talk to yourself? How, like, is it like, you gave me an example, you're like, you fat, like, you just like, don't buy those cookies.
Yeah. No, you know what the amazing thing was, and now here
Mhm.
goes I'm going to bring it into another analogy of, the game and knowing the rules,
Mhm.
right? And your brain, all right, your brain, my brain.
Mhm.
Let me speak in my terms,
Mhm. Yeah, good.
about myself, instead of like, because tend to generalize things instead of making I statements.
Mm.
Um, and so for myself, um, I am when I didn't. So when I part of being an abusive person was I would attack my ex on her weight,
Mm.
and because if I, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes along with that too, and
Mm.
that's not who I am now, but that's just part of the behavior that I exhibited,
Mm.
because I didn't really understand how the brain worked, and
Mm.
what I found out later is that when I would say those things, well, I struggle with weight. So,
Mm,
so who am I talking to
mm,
when I'm saying those things? And what I found out is that I was projecting how I felt about myself onto her because
mm.
of how I hated the fact that I couldn't control my own weight and
Interesting.
control my own eating.
Mm,
And would go to and still do today, man. I mean, it's a hard habit to break, but
mm,
like I'll stop and like get some tacos, or you know what I mean. I'm not even
mhm,
hungry. I'm not even hungry,
mm,
but I just like the way that tacos feel, because maybe I don't feel so good about me today.
mm,
And so it's like learning why you do the things that you do, your brain, man. And so I talk negatively about myself when it comes to that, because it's like I
mm,
know I can do it. I've done it before. I'm just lazy in that
mm,
aspect, right? It's
mm,
like, man, all I need to do is go out and do 100 burpees and some squats, and so, I mean, if I did that, I would probably be able to eat, a right sized portion of whatever I wanted and still
mm.
lose weight.
Right.
But I got to take my ass outside to do it,
Yeah.
right?
The effort that goes along with that.
Yeah. I mean, thinking about it only goes so far. I mean, shit, I might have burned like 4 calories thinking about it.
You know what? I was reading this book about habits called Atomic Habits by James Clear. Have you heard of this book?
No.
Oh my God, this book's amazing. So, what he talks about is creating this habit change. So, he says, for example, like, I'll give you an example that he shares in the book. This guy, he had an issue. He was paying for a gym membership, but he's not going. You know what I mean? And he wants to lose weight, but he's not actually taking the action to go there. And he's like, well, what you got to do is do things that are going to help you get to that point. So, there's like habits before the actual habit takes place. So, what he would do is like, drive to the gym and just sit there for 10 minutes. He wouldn't go in, but he kept on doing that. He kept on doing that. Same time, whatever, just kept on doing that. And then eventually he's like, well, screw it. I'm here already. So let me go in the gym. And then he eventually got in the gym, and then he started to work out. Of course, this is over a course of time, but he was able to lose over 100 pounds by doing the behaviors that eventually led to the habit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like with us as humans sometimes, depending on of course it's a case by case basis, like we have an idea of the version that we want to be sometimes, but we don't really know how to get there, and we think like, let's just do all the things, and then we kind of like dive in head first, and then it doesn't work, and then we beat ourselves up later, and then we try it again, and then we keep doing it, and then eventually it's like, oh, I'm just going to give up. But it's the little things that you have to take part in, and then eventually you can create the behavior to create the change. It's really interesting.
I've got a funny gym story that
What is
ties
it?
right in with what you did, except
Go ahead.
I didn't get as far as your friend did, or
Or
the
his
person that
friend.
should, yeah, his friend. All right, so I remember when I'm like, I'm gonna work out. I'm gonna lose weight. I think
Mm-hmm.
I just got into my own apartment, and breaking up from my wife and all this stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, I'm going to the gym. This is what I'm gonna do. I got
Mm-hmm.
my mind made. So I go to the UFC gym in the area where I'm at,
Mm-hmm.
and I go in there and I start walking around. And I'm like, God damn, these fine ass women in here.
Oh
And
man, you looking at the yoga pants on the
oh
treadmill,
man.
man.
And then I was like, Dad, there's some big ass dudes in here too.
Yeah.
Looking at myself, I'm, all right, well, whatever.
Yeah.
He sits me down, and he's like, well, how about 5 years? Or no, he said, $500 for 2 years right now, and then you can come in and watch all the UFC fights you want, the pay-per-views for free, and all this other
Really?
thing. I'm like, yeah.
I'm like, hell yeah.
And I'm like, all right, Rich. Bam, $500 outright. All right, I'm good.
Right.
I leave, and I never go back in ever.
What?
Never went back in.
Even
Them
for the fights? You get to watch the fights for free? You didn't even go back?
didn't even go back, man. They tried to renew my membership right after 2 years. And I said, man, I said, have you even looked at my attendance?
Yeah. They
Like,
don't care about the attendance.
no, I'm the best kind of gym guy that I'm not putting no wear and tear on their shit.
Oh, it's not just you, Sean. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people because that's the thing. We don't take the steps towards the actual behavior. It's like it sounds good in your head. Like you did take a step though because you went in there, you signed up. That was step one. But the step two probably would have been like, driving there, sitting there for a little bit, and then drive away.
Well, it's the fine ass women that I seen in there, and the big ass dudes that kept me from going. I'm like, damn, man, I don't want to go in there and be starting again.
Look, whatever it takes. Look, if it's gonna be the butts that are gonna get you in there, you gotta be like, look, this girl's here every Tuesday.
That was years ago. That was years ago though. But that's funny, man. I don't mess with gyms anymore. I'm like, dude, I could do that right outside.
Yeah, that's what I actually just got a Peloton because I was like monthly payments, yes. But for me, I know like because your purpose you have to invest in. You have to invest in it, whether it's money, time, energy, whatever it is. You have to invest in your purpose. So I'm like, I get this thing. I'm like, Jesus, that's a huge price tag. It's ridiculous. But I know for me how I am. Once it's like up there, I'm like, oh no, we're gonna eat on this thing. We're gonna sleep on it. We're gonna everything we do. You need to, even if you're not gonna use it that day, you say good morning, Peloton. You have to go over there. Like that's what I made sure. I have to go over there. I have to touch it, make it real. Like, dude, don't forget about this because what people sometimes do, it's like out of sight, out of mind. It's not in your face. You know what I mean? Like you have to have it right there. Even on your commercial breaks, like while you're watching, everybody likes Netflix and chill, lift some weights, do something, move your body. It's a huge connection, especially with, just living a healthy life and connecting your nervous system and working out. Even if it's a walk, go up the stairs, do something.
Move your ass.
Move your ass. So are you working out, Sean?
No, but you want to know what I did yesterday that's going to help me to stay sedentary? I went out on my jet ski. Like I got cleared to go back to work.
Nice.
I'm all that stuff for my surgery and the year that I've been off.
Oh, that's right, your elbow.
Yeah. And so I got cleared to go back on the 29th. And so I'm like, well, it's a nice day. I should probably take out the jet skis. That should be fun. Right. Nice. Burn off some steam and whatnot. And right. I'm pretty good at these things, man. And like, I'm crazy on them. And like when a big boat comes by and it's got that big old wake, I'll dip down and shoot out and jump up 5, 6, 7 feet out of the water and jump those things. Right.
Oh, you're wicked with it.
And so I did that and I zipped around and I'd been doing this all day. Right.
Right.
And so I zipped around and I shot back and I was going to go back around him to catch up so I can get ahead of him and spin around and then go and hit it again. Well, I'm doing about 40 and there's another bigger boat that I didn't realize that their wake was going to be because they had a boat full of people. So it was heavy. So their wake was kind of bigger. And what I did was stupid and it was really dangerous. And I'm lucky what happened to me is the only thing that happened to me. So I'm doing about 40. We're in a channel, right? So there's maybe, I don't know, half a football field in between this channel. And so there's a big ass boat that I'm trying to jump. And then there's another one coming. I'm in the middle and I'm doing 40 and I hit their wake at 40 and I fucking launch off and I hit and come down sideways and it at 40 miles an hour it threw me over the handlebars and
damn.
And it shot the jet ski out in front of the boat that's coming full speed this way. There's other boats coming. There's this one that just passed. I'm in the middle now and I fly, like my whole body just goes like this. So here's my body, here's my head, and here's my feet. I'm like going like,
oh my boom, God.
Like a
launch out of a cannon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And I was, and I mean, literally I skipped and I stopped and I don't know what my foot hit. but I think it's broken. Like my toes, like the left side of my toes, these three, and where the bend point is on your foot, like it's all bruised up and swollen, and I can't even move it. I had to swim
Did you
over.
see a doctor?
No, I haven't done that yet.
Yeah. So
Um,
Sean.
anyways, so that's not part of the story. The story's still going, right? And so like I start swimming over there. I'm swimming against the current. The big boat stops, which like if I was closer to him, I would have shot my ski and hit his boat, or he would have hit it because
Oh,
he
snap.
was coming full speed.
Right.
And so like that was definitely the poster of what not to do when you're out on the water, and hell
Yeah.
of irresponsible.
Yeah.
So anyways, I ended up getting it and get onto it, and they're like, all right, see ya. There's another boat
All
stopped.
right.
Everybody's like making sure that I didn't fucking kill myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, that's what I'm dealing with today.
First of all, I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah,
Even
me
if
too.
whether your toes are broken, bruised, whatever, I'm glad you're okay. Please get that checked out, because we can't have you up here trying to make changes in people's lives and your foot's falling off, okay?
Yeah. I'm like, damn, am I going to go on disability again? They're going to for sure think I'm full of shit. Oh, a year now again?
Every year. It's always something. Oh my gosh. Please keep your body intact. We really need you, because, you show what's possible. You know what I mean? I love that I even heard about your story, because I'm just like, what? Like, I couldn't believe it, because you know what it is? It's the mainstream way. It's like, once you live a certain life, you're always going to live that life. You know what I mean? That's what we see in society sometimes. And you're showing that that's not necessarily true. Yeah, you have that past, but you can still use your story to help others. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit more about the nonprofit, and what demographic you're specifically targeting and why.
Okay, so the nonprofit, like you said, it got started. It's going to be called the Nowhere to Go But Up Project. It's going to be a transitional housing facility for transitional age youth, specifically males 18 to 24 years old, coming out of incarceration, or possibly as a deterrent to incarceration. And it'll be a facility designed to, more of a holistic type of approach to, making a man again, really, and at that age, your brain still hasn't fully developed. You haven't gotten into so much trouble that it's like, that there's no turning back yet.
Right.
So we catch them at that younger age, and then we put them into this facility that's going to be probably anywhere from a year to a year and a half, and it's going to have, like, we've even got a super leadership course that's already that's going to be licensed to the facility, and we're going to be trainers of it as well. The people that are involved in it. Also, it's going to have all of it's going to have podcasting in it, where the facility is going to have its own podcast, because that's a huge part of why I was able to get to where I was, because I was able to find my voice again through podcasting.
Right.
And anything else that you can have, from mental health counseling to coaches to mentors to, skills, job placement, anything that you can need to figure out how to transition from being a kid to an adult, and then launching out into the world. You know what I mean? You got to have a certain amount of money saved up. You've got to have all these things. I'm going to put an element of, community giving back through, whether it's working at the homeless shelters or the there's going to be an element where you're going to have to do some community-based volunteering, and, put yourself in a position of the people that, in the community, and where how bad it could be, without actually having to test it.
Right.
And being able to give back takes you out of yourself, and it puts you into a frame of mind that most people don't get into. And
Absolutely.
so it's going to have all of those things in it. I want all the things, as Maria would say.
Yeah, she's like, all the things. I want to do all the things. Oh my God. You know what, Sean? I'm just so grateful that you made it to this point. I really am, because I'm pretty sure, a lot of people in your, uh, that have lived this type of life don't make it. They don't make it, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
So, yeah.
it's true, and I appreciate what you're saying. And I mean, that's really what my goal is. My goal is
Mhm.
to be an example for other men out there, that have, maybe you're an abusive person out there, and you're watching this, and you're like, going,
Mhm.
"Damn, I hate that I do that."
Mhm.
It's not who I want to be. It's just,
Right.
if you do something and you hurt people and you feel bad afterwards, give me a call, man, or
Oh yeah.
hit me up, because you're not as bad as you think you are, because you
Mhm.
have empathy, and as long as you have empathy, you can change.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? As long as you feel bad for the things that you've done, and and
Mhm.
you express a desire to want to change those. Hold on, let me let my dog out real quick.
No problem.
He's over here.
Famous last words. Let me let my dog out.
Let me let the dog out.
Oh my God, empathy is such an important part.
Oh yeah, because that's, I was a narcissistic person in a lot of
Mhm.
different ways, but the only thing that kept me from being a true narcissist is that every time I wasn't high and doing things, and I was sober, I would feel bad about everything I did. All the
Mm.
name calling I did to my exes, all of the bad stuff that I would do, I would always feel bad about it.
Mhm.
And so I just had to figure out a way to just, okay, well, you feel bad all day long, but you keep doing this shit and it doesn't matter,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know? You're just going to continue
Crazy.
to feel bad.
Absolutely. I have one last question for you, just out of curiosity. I mean, obviously, all my questions were out of curiosity, but just another one. Do you ever speak to the child version of you? Like, like, do you know what I mean by that? Like, you ever like speak to that version of you and kind of like uh tell that version that this version wasn't a bad child? He just needed guidance or whatever the case is for you. Do you ever do that?
I haven't got to that point yet.
Okay.
A lot of my emotion is really shallow, like right under the surface. It doesn't take
Mm.
it. I mean, if you're listening to that fireside chat, I think I cried like at least 3 times in that one.
Yeah, I heard in the first 19 minutes, I think. I was like, is he getting choked up?
Hmm.
That's
Yeah,
beautiful
yeah,
though. You got
yeah.
to express yourself.
But I mean, it's there. It's like, I'd probably be a great actor if all I got to do is think about 1, 2, 3 different things, and I can like
Jesus.
kick it out like
Right.
that. But I mean, that just goes to show that, I mean, there's a lot of work. Yeah, I'm doing a lot of work, but there's a lot of work that still needs to be done. And it's just about figuring out how to work around it now until I can
Mhm.
get a chance to actually dive a little bit deeper and deal with some of those other things.
Mhm.
But I mean, it's evolution. I
It
mean,
is.
everything is constantly evolving if you let it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, you come a long way and you still are going. Still going. I'm so
Got a long way to
happy.
go.
Yeah, I'm so happy for you. Like, and I'm just grateful to even have this opportunity to speak to you and to learn about you. And of course, if there's any way I can help, let me know, share what you're doing. I'll share it, because I see exactly what you're trying to do. And I do think that society would benefit from nowhere to go but up.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And Maria is who you and I are. I mean, Maria is probably one of the one people that is in my life
Mhm.
um, that I really trust.
Yeah.
And female that I'm not like trying to, think about in any other way other than a business partner, and somebody
Right.
that I learn a lot from, man. I mean,
Yeah, she's awesome.
yeah, not only is she a great person, but I mean, she's
Mm-hmm.
constantly teaching me about things that I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
and like how to look at things, and right, well, why don't you try this? And she comes at everything in a genuine, like, I care about you kind of way,
Yep.
and I just want to see you do better.
Mm-hmm.
And so I 100% appreciate the shit out of that woman.
Yes,
And
likewise. Shout out to Maria Daniels,
yep, shout
Reset
out to
Business
Maria.
Consulting. She is so awesome. I mean, because of her, I was able to get, and learning from you guys. Like, it's so funny. I've done my show, WaseOff podcast, for over 5 years, and just felt like I was like chasing my own tail. And then finally, for some reason, I think on a personal level, things clicked in my head. But also now it's like, because I'm learning from you guys, like I'm learning all these tools that I can use to help bring my show to this next level. And here we are.
Here we are. Well, it's a network, man, and we're all a part of it, and it's a human network because it's, you know, the energy that's out in the world. We're all connected.
Absolutely.
And when the sooner that everybody sort of gets on board with the fact that we're all connected and we're all connected by energy in some way, shape, or form, and you know, whether it's the universe or God or whatever it is that you want to choose to call that energy, we're all a part of it.
Absolutely.
And we need to stop fighting it and, you know, go and get in bed. Let's go, you know, and, you know, not in like such a crass way, but in the same way, it's like, get in the pool, man, get in the pool. Everybody jump in the pool. Stop playing these games.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It takes time. You know, I think, you know, with finding your purpose, it does take time. And I think, you know, some people feel that their purpose is supposed to happen at like 18 or, you know, if you think about it, it's like almost like, it's shared with us that way. You know, at 18, you know, you're going to go to college. Where are you going to go? You need to find something. What are you going to focus on? But what if it doesn't happen for you then? What if it doesn't? Because for me, it didn't happen until I was in my 30s, 20s, maybe. I started the podcast a long time ago, but to get to this version, it took years.
Well, your purpose will generally reveal itself when you're ready to see it.
That is the thought. That is it.
That's it. I mean, if you ain't ready to see it, you're not going to. But once things start aligning and you start figuring out who you are and what you really like, what are you made of, right? You know, what is it that gets you? What do you like to do that doesn't feel like work, right?
That's it. Yeah.
And you know, do you want to help people? Do you want to help yourself? Do you want to, you know what I mean? And you got to figure everything out.
Yeah.
And you got to ask yourself those questions, because until you do, you're not going to know. You're just going to be running around. Like, what do they call that? Like, how can you go somewhere when you don't know where you're going?
Right.
You know, how are you going to go on a trip when you have no destination?
Right.
You're just going to be driving around wasting gas until you run out of money and you go, damn, I ain't got no more money. I ain't got no more gas.
Yep. I ain't got no more gas.
Now what?
I would like just take that, just clip that. I want to like use that. Like, I ain't got no more gas. Sean.
Now what, universe?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what are you going to do now? Oh my God, Sean. Thank you so much for being here. I don't even know how long this conversation's been. I don't have a ticker timer, but it's been over an hour, which is awesome. I would love to have you back on again as you build your nonprofit and continue with the show. So just real quick, like, let people know where they can find you. I'll put my little ticker thingy back up while you do that.
All right. Nowhere to Go But Up podcast. It's actually Nowhere to Go But Up. If you just Google that, I'm the only one out there. If you Google Sean Dustin, a whole bunch of stuff will pop up that I'm on. The easiest way, if you want a link, is my link tree is linktr.ee/Nowhere to Go But Up, and that has all the ways to connect to the show, trailers, you know, intros, you know, anything you want to, anywhere you want to go with the show, you can find on that link tree. Maria Daniels is working on the website. That's in progress. I've managed to do this whole thing for the last 2 years without one, but have learned that it's probably why I'm not growing as fast as I want to, because
that's what she taught me that lesson too. I was like, damn it.
Screw you.
Yeah, like, oh, I can't just use Facebook. Oh.
No more soup for you. You're blacklisted.
Indeed. But yes, everybody check out his podcast. It's really amazing. Like, I love the podcast that you have because it's just like, you know, you learn from it. Like, I like when you had the dude that was like talking about flat Earth, and I was like, all right, like, is this possible? Like, what, you know, it was just like interesting. But you know what the beauty about podcasting is? It provokes thought. You know, why not? You know what I mean? Like, you know, question everything. Question everything about yourself.
There's definitely something in there for everybody. There's 26 published episodes. I've got 40. No, actually, I probably got like 50 plus that I'm still waiting to publish.
That's insane.
Yeah. So bad on me for that. I feel bad for some of the guests that have been waiting to get their stuff out. Like, dude, I have Liz Priestley sitting in my thing, and Concrete Cowboy just got released. I'm like, dude, you need to get that out. What is wrong with you?
You're on your way.
Let her jump the line.
You're on your way. You're on your way. So we look forward to hearing all these podcasts, man. Keep doing your thing. Stay focused. And it's time for me to play the outro.
All right. Well, thank you again, Stacey, for having me on. I love the conversation. I love your energy is amazing and you're awesome. And let's connect again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again, Sean.
Bye.